Back to one of our top stories now. ANC spokespersons Pule and Zizi have voluntarily stepped aside. Well, that at least is according to the party's Secretary General. This after separate sexual misconduct allegations were leveled against the pair. The party says it stands by Kodwa and Mabe and considers them innocent until proven guilty. Well, political analyst Sandile Swana joins us now to make sense of it all. Good evening, sir. Thanks very much for your time. Now, the Secretary General of the ANC says these two voluntarily stepped aside. But then Pule Mabe tells us that, no, he's on extended leave because he wants to sort his personal matters, including, of course, talking to his pastor and dealing with the stress that has come with this particular episode. Otherwise, from where he sits, he has been cleared of all wrongdoing. Clearly, something is not telling the truth here. What did you make of it all when you first heard it?
Thank you so much for your... I think that it would have, first of all, just been premature for all of us to say Pule Mabe has been cleared, because in this particular case, this is an employment situation. So if the employee, the complainant, is not satisfied with the outcome of the hearing, they've got several options, the CCMA and the Labour Court. And I think we all are aware that the lady was totally dissatisfied and she felt that the whole ANC hearing thing was a cover-up, an attempt to protect Pule Mabe. And just on this point as well, you will see that some of the specialists in this area of women's rights have actually pointed out already that the ANC, in as much as it has had many, many cases of sexual harassment, and even a president who went to win the presidency in the midst of rape cases, the ANC itself does not have a sexual harassment policy. So you will ask yourself, if they don't have a sexual harassment policy as such a big organization, what were the chairpersons using to conduct this hearing? What was guiding them to come to any determination? So those are some of the questions that are outstanding. So it would have been premature. And I think the ANC now itself has realized that this is not going to work. This bluff that they tried to put out there, that this thing has been dealt with and it's finished, is not working. The Women's League has not accepted it. The legal fraternity is asking a lot of questions around this. How do you do this?
In the case of Zizi?
In the case of Zizi, from the outset, if you read the letter that Zizi put out, because Zizi answered, this woman submitted a letter and Zizi was notified coincidental on Valentine's Day this year that by the Secretary General of the ANC that there is this letter that has arrived. So Zizi then now lately issues this letter. When you read the letter, it is a denial. In the letter, there is no refutation. Now, when you refute something, I'll make an example. If this woman was raped at the Michelangelo, if you are refuting the case, you simply say, on that particular day, I was in Cape Town with Bishop Tutu in an all-night prayer, and I have 10 witnesses who can prove that I was nowhere near the Michelangelo, and you were not where I was. So you give that sort of evidence. There is not a single sentence in the letter that was written by Zizi that tries to refute any of the specific allegations that were mentioned by this woman in her letter.
Now, the handling by the ANC of this whole saga is what I think many viewers are interested in. Well, they may well be interested in the salacious details as well, but I want us to explore the meaning of all this. The fact that the ANC then relied, because by the spokesperson of the ANC's own admission, the innocent until proven guilty would have stayed had these two not decided to give these processes space and take a backseat, for whatever reason.
Yes, I think the ANC is facing what you might call a deluge, what Vavi once called a tsunami. This is a tsunami of problems. These problems are happening literally weeks before the actual election takes place. On the one day, you hear that as if the ANC is improving in the rankings, Ramaphosa is picking up popularity even more than the ANC, meaning that there are some people who are starting to believe that there's a possibility of a cleanup in the ANC somehow. Then the person in charge of the office of Ramaphosa at Tutili House, the president's office, is now accused of rape. Not only is he accused of rape, this is Zizi Kodwa. Not only is he accused of rape, this rape occurs in a flat, in an apartment rented at the Michelangelo by a director of Bosasa. And Bosasa is an organization that right now, as we speak, is a shining example of corruption in South Africa. Corruption that involves many high-ranking ANC members.
Well, if people, if some people within the ANC who are close to the president, as utterances or at least statements are anything to go by, it would seem that their belief is that the president remains untainted, but it's Zizi Kodwa who misbehaved and is bringing this all to the president. So he must then do the right thing and step aside, and this won't affect the president. Is that necessarily the case? Is that how people are going to read it?
I think let's look at it from another, not just Cyril's position, because this is a part of this is the ANC position. What I mean by that is that the ANC, the problem of the ANC, you can talk about the monies, you can talk about the sex, you can talk about those, but the essence of the problem is whether you are actually generally a law-abiding people. If you look at the ANC as a group, are you a law-abiding group?
And are they? Answer that question. Can you answer that question? Are they?
Yes, I'll come to that answer. But right now, so Cyril has been profiling himself as this particular type of person who is bringing the rule of law into the ANC and into the country after it has been lacking for a very, very long time. Now, Zizi Kodwa, on his part, is actually by this revelation. This thing, Zizi Kodwa committed it last year already, so it has been there. And I'm sure the elders of the ANC have known about this for quite some time. So now it has emerged into the public domain and it is out there. Then they say, we are gaining momentum and this is a diversion. Now, the question that you are asking me about whether the ANC is a law-abiding citizen, the ANC is attempting to be a law-abiding citizen. The history, unfortunately, speaks for itself that the laws, whether it's the PFMA, the Constitution, has been under serious attack from the ANC itself.
And Cyril Ramaphosa himself, does this tell us whether or not he is in control?
I don't think it tells us that. What I think it tells us is that in the ANC, everybody is starting to realize that this ship can actually sink. I think this is a major, major shift, a major shock to the ANC, the shake in confidence to say, guys, if we are not seen to be actually doing the right thing here, we might actually be in trouble, much bigger trouble, because the ANC has had this immunity that they are impervious to any scandal, impervious, they are bulletproof. You know, we've had statements like the ANC will rule until Jesus comes back. But I think that even within the ANC, even within the Women's League, and among themselves, even the SACP, there are sharp differences of opinion. And those are driven by the fact that electorally, I think they are starting to see that there's a possibility that they might lose more than they want to lose.
That's why we're going to leave it for this evening.